I'm a man of my word. It's 11:02. We're going to get beginning here. So, hello everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I'm pretty sure all of you know who I am, but if you don't, because there are a couple new people who just started at our company. I'm Matt. I manage our communications and development department here at Donnelly Boland. And I have blocked off an hour for today's webinar, but I think that that's really going to leave us a lot of time for question and answer, should there be any. Anna is on this session today too, and she is going to be managing our Q&A pod. So I have a prepared seminar to give right now, but Anna is going to be managing the Q&A pod. So if you go to the bottom of your screen, not the one that says chat, but the one that says Q&A, if you have questions throughout this session, just type them into there, because I'm going to just keep moving. I have spots for questions at the end, but if you have questions throughout, ask Anna. Either she's going to say, hey, I'm going to answer it myself and answer you directly in the Q&A pod, or she's going to stop me and then we're going to go over things. We are going to have time for questions throughout and also at the end, but if for whatever reason you want to ask in the Q&A pod, please be sure to do so. The goal of today's session is to be able to explain what our communications department does, what we can do for other clients, and what you need to know to kind of arm yourself so that you can go and talk to these clients about these things. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm really looking forward to today's presentation. First up is our agenda. Our agenda will be fairly straightforward. We have 6 major items to discuss. First, I'm going to explain the company background as to why I'm actually doing this presentation at all and why you were all asked to be here. I will then explain how our department functions, what we do. Then I will talk about marketing, communications, advertising, and all the other names surrounding this giant field. Then I will talk about the services that we provide. This is going to be the bulk of the presentation. This is really what the presentation is about. What can we provide for clients? Next up, I will talk to you about some buzzwords, some things that you should be listening for, some things that you might be able to add into conversations. And then finally, I will talk about our new company offer. What's that? I don't know. That's the hook. I'm keeping you hooked on here. And then we're going to talk about that at the end. So we're going to jump right into the company background. So most of our employees should know this, but we actually have a number of new employees who are just starting out here, and we're going to be recording this video, so we might be able to give this to new employees in the future. So I wanted to go over a little bit about what our company does. You should understand this in general, but with the new employees, I really want to make sure that we have the quick high-level overview. Many small business and not-for-profit organizations have back office needs, such as accounting. And primarily what we do for these accounting services is that we go in and we support in some fashion. So for some organizations, this is a very little bit of support. They might need someone to come in to set up their books, or they might want someone to review on a monthly or quarterly basis. And we can do that on a fractional basis. In other instances, organizations need a fully outsourced solutions. We come in and we help with every single part of the accounting process, soup to nuts. We help these clients, some clients for a few hours a month or a few hours a quarter. Others, we have several staff members spending 38.75 in their office. And we can do everything else in between. Our organization began in 1992, and we've had some significant changes to our staff, our clients, and our services over this time. With the goal in mind being an entire back office suite of services, we are now getting into offering communication services. We've been doing this a little bit for a while now. So first we started by running everything for Donnelly Boland and Associates. We really cut out all of our external vendors. We used to have vendors do things like external printing. We do most of the printing in-house now. We had a web developer do our website. Now we run our website in-house. So we did our stuff first, and then we expanded to the Alliance and HSAO. And those are our sister companies that work in our building. And now we're starting to provide our services for external clients too. So today's meeting is a very clear mark for our company. We are looking to actively sell communication services. and expand to that back office suite of services that our company provides. So our department is this. It's me and it's Anna. So Anna's on this call too, and we are a two-person operation at this point. I've been working here since 2012. Anna's been working here since 2018. And over the last 9 years, our department has undergone a significant change. We built solid infrastructure. We found areas for repeatable success, and we have been able to transfer our knowledge, the things that we learned, all the stumbling points that we had along the way, onto other organizations. So all of the things that we do, we can now provide to other organizations. Now, for those of you who, before we even get into our services, start thinking like, well, what is it exactly that you provide? Think about all the things that you get from Anna or from me. So the email communications that go out, and our website and our intranet, and you know that we send out a newsletter, and you know that we have DBU seminars on our services. All of these different types of things, we are the ones providing. Also, we do a lot of the things behind the scenes that you might not see, and those are some of the things that we're going to be able to talk about today. So today, we're already on to pillar number 3, and this sounds inconsequential, but it is absolutely supremely important. When I started at Donnelly Bowen & Associates, we were the marketing department. And then a number of years ago, we changed to the communications and development department. Internally, a lot of people call us CAD, but please know that people outside our circle don't necessarily know what CAD is. You can tell them it's communications and development and then call it CAD after that, but don't just assume that people know what CAD is. So some people might be looking for marketing help. Some people might be looking for communications help or development help or PR help or advertising help or digital marketing. We try to use the term communications and development as a catch-all. This umbrella term that does all of these different things. I don't want us to be stifled by the terminology that we use. I don't want you to hear somebody say advertising, you say, no, we have a communications department. I don't want you to hear somebody say brand development and say, no, that's not what communications does. Really, we're trying to be the umbrella term that is everything else underneath of it. So really, if a company needs anything strategic from a communications, marketing, advertising, PR standpoint, they can come to us. Now we're going to get into the real meat of the discussion today. The types of services that we offer. I have listed 8 out here, and we're going to go over each one of the 8. This is not a comprehensive list. For example, we can also provide support with promotional items or logo development or internal communications. The reason that I chose these is because I think that these would likely be the places that organizations would start needing. Maybe there are cases where there's something that's not going to be on this list, but I would ask you to just reach out to me or have the client reach out to me directly, and we can go from there. More than likely, if it's within this umbrella of communications, marketing, advertising, PR, digital, whatever, we're probably going to be able to support in some capacity. So I would say that in general, if people are asking what we can provide, the answer is probably yes. Like, let's just go and we'll go from there. And there might be some instances where it doesn't make sense. It might not be the exact fit, and that's okay. But I would prefer to have the conversation than to assume that we don't do it. So first up here is integrated marketing communications. And it's an integrated marketing communications plan. To understand that, I think that we first need to understand what integrated marketing communications is, or IMC. IMC is an approach to creating a unified and seamless experience for customers to interact with an organization. It attempts to meld all aspects of marketing and communications, such as advertising, sales promotion, public relations, digital marketing, social media, all together through their respective mix of tactics, methods, channels, media, and activities, so that all work together as a unified force. This is the concept that everything that you're doing from a marketing standpoint needs to come together and be unified. So what an IMC plan really looks like is it's a way for us to view everything that they do or everything that they should do, and it's giving them a guide moving forward. So this includes market research, strategic planning, audience segmentation, marketing channel selection, messaging, budgeting, ROI analysis, that's return on investment, and evaluations. All of these things together, and then we present it to them in a formal document as a roadmap moving forward. So I would have a discovery meeting with a client, assess all of their existing materials, and issue a formal document and say, hey, here are the things you're doing well. Here are the things that you could be doing. Have you ever considered this? Here's the budget needed for things like this. This is an overarching plan. And this roadmap is for them to follow. What I like most about an IMC plan is this is a really good starting place. And there might be some organizations that would have us do an IMC plan and then do all the work themselves. Hey, we have the people, we have the personnel, we just really don't know what direction to go. Can you give us that insight? Yes. And then there might be some others who say, hey, we want you to provide the IMC plan, and then we green light it, and then you go. You just do the work. We want you to do everything. That's great. But I would hazard a guess at saying that the majority of organizations would say, hey, these are some really good ideas. You came up with 5 pillars for me. We're going to handle pillars 1 and 2. And we're going to hold off on pillar 3 right now. We don't have the time, resources, budget. And then pillars 4 and 5, we want your team to handle. And the thing about working with us is we can support at any level that they want. So we can do all of the work, we can do part of the work, we can also just provide them with a plan and have them do the work. Recently, I put together a couple IMC plans for our clients, and I think that they're a really good starting point for them to visualize and say like, okay, here's what I need to wrap my head around. I think that in many cases, you have organizations that put the marketing communication stuff off, or when they do it haphazard. They just do one little project at a time, and they don't have a plan. They don't have a voice. They don't have a brand. They don't have ethos to rely back on. And because of that, they don't have that direction moving forward. So this helps them to get everything in line. Okay, if I want to do this, I want to do these 8 things. I want to do these 5 things. I want to do these 2 things, whatever. But it's starting to put that process together and making sure that you get it to work as well together as possible. Our department here is actually a testament to using an IMC strategy, because ultimately what we have done here is we started with one thing at a time and just kept adding to the plate and adding to the plate and adding to the plate. And it's a 2-person department. So how have we added? We've added by creating synergies. And with an IMC plan, you can create those synergies. So the second one up here is a contact management system, or a client relationship management system. Our department just switched over to using HubSpot. For all of you client leads, you have received several emails from our team from HubSpot saying that you're the lead of this client and things like that. And right now we're in the process of kind of massaging these things on our end. Many organizations do want to reach their clients or prospective clients on a routine basis, but they don't know how to do it. And one of the best ways to do this is through a contact management system. An example for this, a couple weeks ago, a number of us here were at one of our clients' golf outings, and they were actually giving away free t-shirts if you signed up for their email. They wanted to reach you so bad on a regular basis that they were willing to give you a free t-shirt for it. That's an organization that sees the value in communicating and contacting with your client base. A solution like HubSpot or Salesforce or really any of the big ones, we would be able to support with. What we can do is we can manage all the contacts for them. We can create the infrastructure. Here are the categories you're going to need. Do you want to track these things? Do you not want to track these things? Then we can create reporting for them so that they can get reports on a weekly or monthly or quarterly basis to see what their actual client base is looking like. And this will help us to engage with these clients and contacts, and we can utilize these outside firms or outside softwares to be able to make this a lot easier. There are still some organizations that are just using things like Excel. They're incredibly cumbersome, and there are affordable solutions to something like Excel that sometimes an organization just doesn't know about. They might say like, oh, I thought that it would have been thousands and thousands of dollars a year to use something. Well, no, there are some solutions that are incredibly affordable. So if an organization is looking to contact or send donation letters out, or just to send monthly communications with people, or to have a place to go to know who to contact, a contact management system would definitely be essential. Third one up here is content creation or content generation. Even a decade ago, if a company put out a quarterly newsletter, they were getting the word out. That was enough. But because of blogs and social media and online videos, there is a greater need to have more content. Content is king. Content generation is a difficult idea too, because who comes up with the ideas? Who does the mock-up for the ideas? Who schedules the material to go out? Who's tracking the material? And how do you maintain it? How do you have the content calendar to just keep it going? You might be able to do it for a week or a month or even a couple months, but the majority of organizations bite off way too much. And what they do is they say, hey, these are the things that we're going to do. And then 3 months in, they end up stopping altogether because they don't have the resources to do this. So that becomes an absolute need for a lot of these companies. It's so time consuming, and they know they want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. So regardless if people need graphical help, or writing newsletters or donation letters, or coming up with ads, or coming up with social media content or slide decks for meetings, whatever that may be, we can generate the content. We can do the graphical end of the content, so we can make it visually appealing. We could also write the content like newsletters and things like that. For HSAO, one of the things that we do is that for the last few years, for their year-end reporting, they give me the information and then I stylize it. I make it look like visually appealing. So sometimes organizations do things like that. Other times, another one of the clients that we're working with right now, they want a monthly newsletter, but they don't know what content they want in that monthly newsletter. So right now, Anna is working on drafting up their newsletter that's going out this month. Then they'll review it, and then it will go out. And we're the ones who are actually generating that content. Getting together that content calendar, providing that analysis for things, that's essentially what we can do. And it's not that these other organizations can't do some of this stuff. They don't have the time for it. They don't have the commitment and dedication to do this month after month, week after week, day after day. Because if you want to be posting on different sources on a regular routine basis, there's a lot of content that you need. This brings us right into social media. So social media, we can help really with any fashion of this. Even 5 years ago, using social media was a choice. Some people were like, yeah, we don't use social media. We're like, we have a LinkedIn page, but we don't really use it. Now it feels like you're hiding something if you're not on social media. Social media has become the industry standard. I think that while that was still like around 50% of businesses were using social media, now it's hard because different sources say different things, but in most cases, I've seen it's about 90% of businesses are using social media, and over 80% of small businesses are using social media. All the big companies have it, but small businesses are now seeing a greater push for that. And the year of the pandemic last year really pushed the people who weren't really sure if they wanted to use social media, it pushed them over the line. So we can help people evaluate different platforms. Should you be on Instagram and TikTok or not? Should you be using Twitter or should you be using Facebook? We can evaluate different platforms for people, provide them with research. We can obviously do the content creation. Last slide talking about content creation. So we can do the content creation for people. We can create content calendars, including research telling you, here's how many times you should be posting based on your industry, based on what your wants and desires and needs are from social media. We can schedule the post, we can manage the post. We currently do things directly on our end from like Facebook. So like we schedule directly on Facebook, but we could use Hootsuite if one of our clients wanted to use something like that. It's kind of expensive, but we are adept at using that. Also, we can provide the analysis, the monthly and the quarterly reporting. Hey, here are how many new followers you got. Here are how many likes and shares you got. Here are some of the conversions you got. I think that what it comes down to with social media is that now people are saying, yes, we need to be here. Yes, we need to use social media, but they don't know what it needs to look like. They don't know what types of content works and what type doesn't. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is that a brand new business gets a Facebook page, and what they do is they post every day. And what they post every day is about their services. Hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Look, people don't want to see that. You need to have involvement. You need to have engagement. People are much less likely to like and share things that are just talking about your services. If you're a pizza shop and you say, hey, come buy pizza, come buy pizza, come buy pizza, people aren't likely to engage with a place like that. But a lot of small business owners don't know that. They don't know that they're doing something like, I have no idea why we're not getting any likes. I have no idea why we're not getting any shares. I have no idea why we're not getting any new followers. You're not, because you're not engaging with the client base the way that they could be engaged with. So whether it's the strategy help or the tactical help, we can help with really anything in regard to social media. So remember, we have 8 things to go over. This is number 5. Number 5 is website design. Like I explained at the very beginning, when I first came on here, we had a website firm make our website for us. So what we would do is we would send them content and we would say, hey, can you post this picture? Hey, can you post this newsletter article? And go through them to do that. Now we can provide that for other people. So right now we manage the Donnelly Bolin website, the Alliance website, the HSAO website, and the Brentwood Baldwin Whitehall Chamber of Commerce website. So we manage all 4 of those. And what can happen with this is this can be a way to have that ongoing connection with a client. So we can create a website on a platform like Wix or Squarespace or WordPress, and we can manage all the changes and modifications for them. We can let them know that, hey, this is getting a little bit stale. Maybe you want to consider updating these things. You have broken links here. There are a number of our existing clients that have just bad websites. Websites that are not mobile friendly, meaning when you go on your phone, you have to scroll back and forth to see the whole picture. You have websites that are absolutely not search engine optimized. They're not using the keywords that people want to see that you can have organic growth. Websites that have broken links, websites that haven't been updated in 5-7 years. All of these things are really good intro points to say like, hey, do you want to think about this? Oftentimes I see businesses that do not want to update their website because it costs a lot of money. And I think that we can provide an affordable solution to people. And what this will enable people to do is to see that there is some way to engage with their website. And going back to that IMC, make sure that their website feels like their social media and feels like their newsletter and feels like their promotional items and feels like their email signatures. All of these things need to come together. If you have things that are stale and outdated, it's certainly not going to feel that way. Next up here, email marketing. So there was a short period of time, not too long after I came on here, where email marketing kind of fell out of fashion. And people thought that social media and blogs, that's where people are. So too many people were pushing things out through email marketing and people weren't getting seen. But that has now changed, and the research has come back. It's very clear. Email marketing still works. So when you post on Facebook, you're actually not sure if the people you want are seeing that. You don't know. You can see that how many people saw it, but you can't see a one-to-one relationship. Whereas when you send out email marketing, you're like, yes, I know this hit their inbox, and you can track whether or not they opened it. So you can very literally see, yes, this person saw this. So we can create the content, we can create layouts for emails, we can draft templates for different things. We can use things like Constant Contact or MailChimp. We used to use MailChimp, now we use Constant Contact. I prefer Constant Contact myself, but they're very, very similar. And we can provide those insights and metrics for people. One of the things that I think that email marketing can do is it can really help with conversions. If you're looking at conversions through social media, I think social media ends up being a lot more about brand awareness and keeping people top of mind. And if people are considering using your service, they might look to social media to reinforce their pre-existing conditions. But with email marketing, if you say, come to this seminar, and they click it, we know that people saw that email and went with the call to action to actually click it and come to the seminar. So I think that there's definitely a place for email marketing, and sometimes people might think that, oh, this is kind of passe now. It's really not. It's still very much an integral part of marketing communications. Next up here, we have advertising. We can also support with advertising. We can create ads. We can work with vendors to run ads. We can manage the ads ourselves. We can provide detailed analysis for all of the efforts that we do. This can be as simple as creating a graphic for a high school yearbook. So there are some organizations that say, you know what, I want to support something, but I don't know how to make this. Or people who, can kind of fiddle around and make things for, a tiny little ad, but they don't know how to make a billboard ad. They don't know that they need to use a graphics file like Adobe Illustrator if you want to use a billboard. And actually the first, when we had our Waynesburg office, I put together one of the billboards out there. And it was the first time that I learned how to do that. And it is completely different than making another ad. You need to use certain types of graphics. You need to have certain sizes of files to be able to use a billboard, or when it would be stretched out, it would look pixelated and it would look terrible. People don't know this. If you don't have the graphics files, if you don't do this on a routine basis, you don't know that you need to follow that type of process. So we can do things basic like doing Instagram ads or Facebook ads, but we can also run an entire YouTube campaign. In December for the Alliance, I helped facilitate run our radio ad campaign that went out on several different radio stations, and we can perform services like that and act as the intermediary for people. So if people are interested in advertising, maybe one of the companies you work with is kind of blowing up and they want to do more with advertising, we can be here for that too. And the final service that I'm going to talk about today is going to be event planning. This has looked very different post-COVID, but as things begin to open back up, there will be a greater need for event planning. And we can manage a party for employees or clients. We can host seminars. We can also plan more elaborate events. We can support all facets of the company event, including creating signage and materials, interfacing with guests, and as you guessed it, we can provide the recaps and the analysis afterward. One of the clients that we have right now, they're actually in Ohio, and I had a meeting with them last week, and I'm not sure if it's going to be Anna or if it's going to be me, but one of us is going to go out for their golf outing, and we're going to manage the day. They have a golf outing, they're a networking group, and someone's going to go out there and take all the registrations and get all the email addresses and make sure the day runs smoothly. So we can perform anything in terms of event planning. Oh, Now we're going to take a brief pause right here. So that was like the chunk that I really wanted to get through. And looking at these 8 services: integrated marketing communications plan, a CMS system, content creation, social media, website design, email marketing, advertising, event planning. Does anyone have any questions at this time with our services? Was there anything with one of our services that was unclear, or like, oh, you know what, I kind of got these 7, but I don't understand this one? You can feel free to add that in the chat or raise your hand and we can allow you to talk. We can do that either way. I honestly didn't anticipate many questions because, I mean, I'm just so perfect at communicating that all of my points are just so salient and so clear that it's very hard to misinterpret anything. And because you all aren't on here and like I can't hear your laughter, I assume that there's just a tremendous amount of laughter right now. We have one question. Sorry, late to the party, but who is the biggest segment of customer to target for these services? That's a great question from Chris. And let me do this live answer. So I really think that I don't necessarily know if we have a greatest segment yet, and or like the best type of segment. And the reason that I say that is because we're new to this. We're a 2-person department and we are looking to grow. So if you're telling me who do you think would be the best for this, any of our clients that would look for our services, I would be okay with. But if you're saying the absolute most ideal candidate, I think that doing the same services that we do internally for a client and doing as many of those as possible, I think that would be my ideal. So running a contact management system, updating their website, handling their social media, providing them with reports and analysis, I think that would be the ideal candidate for who would need a lot of things. I think that the smaller projects are okay and we will accept them for sure, but sometimes I think that those could be a little bit more difficult. So if one person wants, one ad, yes, we will do that, and maybe that will get our foot in the door, but ultimately the time to get that up and running and to be able to engage with them, to figure out exactly what they want, I think that it might not always be the best use of our time or their money. So I think that the more that we can do and the more that we can do on a routine basis, if we can do things on a weekly or monthly basis for a client, I think that would be ideal. Next up here, how can we refer clients to DBA for CAD services? So this question is from Nick Chavera, and this is actually in 2 slides. I actually am going to answer this question. So I have one more slide and then we're going to answer this question exactly, but this is literally right on point with what we're talking about. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen.
And then Matt, really quickly, I just wanted to bring up, because we had a good question about it. Just so everyone knows that when we refer to the website, we are talking about our professional website and not our employee intranet. However, that is something that if you're talking with a client and they kind of bring up to you that an employee intranet, an employee hub is something that they're interested in as well, that's something that we can also facilitate. So just wanted to add that in.
And in a client meeting I had a number of months back, when I showed our intranet to one of our clients, one of our accounting clients, they were like, that's exactly what we need. We want something like that. So I do think that employee communications and internal communications could definitely be something we could support with. And as I said, right before the services, I don't necessarily think that will be our first step with a lot of these clients, but it could be. And I do think that that would be something worthwhile. So next up here, I have some buzzwords for you. And when I wanted to talk about buzzwords, what I'm talking about is sometimes you might hear this from the client and you also might say these types of things to clients. So I have on here a number of different things, and I'll just go through them quickly. Brand identity. This is starting to come into play, especially with people trying to be socially conscious. So your brand and who you are, yeah, that's IMC, but brand identity is starting to say, what do you stand for? And I think that in light of social justice issues, a lot of companies are starting to consider brand identity the way that they may not have in the past. Content generation, this is a big one. This is one of the pillars that I talked about before, and people don't know how to come up with new content. So hearing something like, hey, we're having trouble coming up with new posts, say to them content generation. Who develops your content? Who generates your content? What does your process look like? That's a good buzzword right there. People use customer relationship management or CMS. CRM is for customer relationship. That's also inputting your interactions with them. CMS is contact management system. They're, in some ways, you're splitting hairs. They are different, but customer relationship system is more your clients and ways that you're engaging with each person, how they're triaged and what you can do with them. Contact management system is typically just all of your contacts. Either way, that's something that people could be talking about. Mobile optimizations. So many websites are not mobile optimized. This is a very basic thing now on websites. And now when people go onto a website that's not mobile optimized, more people are using their phones than ever, as we know. You go on to look up a company and their website isn't mobile optimized, they go to another website. We're seeing this again and again and again. This is something that's necessary and something that needs to be remedied for all companies. Marketing automation. What ways can you automate your marketing? How can you do things that you can do the work up front and then the work goes out on a routine basis? So we can do things like through Constant Contact. We can set up your email marketing and, hey, these are the emails that are going out for you for the next 2 months. We can set up those things on social media. Here are the things that are going out for you for the next couple months. We can do that with blog posting. Same way, automating those things so that you don't have to think about it. A thought leader. This might actually be really important for people who are in specific industries or for not-for-profits. A lot of times a not-for-profit organization can separate itself by becoming a thought leader. You're now someone who is engaging with other people because people are coming to you because you're the lead. You're the industry expert that people want to go to. So trying to become a thought leader online is difficult, but it can be done. Next one is going viral. People want to go viral. It's not always super simple to go viral, but there are some organizations that have an opportunity, a much greater opportunity to go viral than others. So if you hear that think you're in the communications field, you're in the marketing field, here, pass them over. Visual storytelling. This is another real hot topic. Visual storytelling is trying to tell your brand story or tell stories about the things that you're doing in a visually appealing way. You're seeing higher engagement from people online when you're using visual storytelling, and you're doing this through graphics. You're doing this either through charts and graphs or, interactive things. I think that this is likely going to be a major concept in upcoming years. Call to action is making sure that when you send something, when you post something, when you do something, people know what to do next. When we send out, hey, we have an upcoming seminar, boom, there's a big register here button. Their call to action is to register for the seminar. We want you to register for the seminar. Regardless of what you're posting, you should always be having a call to action. Key performance indicators. A key performance indicator is a measurable value that demonstrates how effectively a company is achieving business objectives. So KPIs are another buzzword when industries, and like this also might be in some of the early stage startup businesses, they might be looking for KPIs, and those are things that you want to make visually appealing, and you might need some graphical help. Click-through rate. when you're posting things, how much are people going to the next stage? So when we send out a DBU seminar and we say the register here button, we know how many people register, but we also know how many people click the register now button. There might be sometimes where a lot of people click the button, but then they don't go to the next step. And on a website, if you have something really big on your front screen, how many people are clicking that and going to the next page? And then finally, ROI, return on investment. You're investing X amount of dollars. Are you looking for X amount of business back? A lot of times that's what people are looking for. How much did it cost you and what did you get out of it? Trying to figure those things out. These are all buzzwords that you could be hearing with your existing clients or just from people in the community, your friends, your family, whoever. If you're hearing these things, you can refer them to us. And then going back to the question from Nick, we now have a new company offer. In an effort to expand our communication services, our company is now offering a free hour of consultation to any of our current clients. Some may just want to talk about their needs and have a scoping discussion. Others would like us to do an assessment of their website. Maybe they say, yeah, who cares? Like, check out our website. Tell us what you like and what you don't like. Others might have a specific need. Maybe they want us to write a donation letter. And they say, hey, yeah, you know, we're pretty good on stuff, but go write a donation letter for us. It can be anything that they would like. Anna and I will help out in any way we can. And in terms of what Nick was talking about, I think that this is just a great icebreaker. So we don't always talk about selling our services, and we're not trying to change our company into, hey, we're looking for every single person here to sell services all the time. No, you have client responsibilities. You have other work that needs to be done. But when you hear certain things, when you hear those buzzwords, when you see something from a client and you see a need, maybe you work with a client and that client's communications person quits. Before they posted that job, say to them, hey, have you ever thought about an outsourced solution? Maybe it could actually be a cost savings for you. So these are the types of things that when opportunities present themselves, we want you to be there. And I think that this new company offer to allow for the 1 hour free of consultation, I think that can be an easy icebreaker. That can be an easy way to say to somebody, hey, why don't you check them out? No harm, no foul. Like they don't have to send you a proposal. You don't have to sign anything, nothing like that. Just a free hour of a consultation. So that consulting work comes right off the top. There's nothing attached to it. We're not going to assume that we're going to absolutely get the work out of it from everybody. I think that it's just an opportunity for us to showcase what we can do. And I'm confident in what our department can do. And I want to grow our department, and we have every intention of doing that. And to do that, we need more clients. So this is a way to get our foot in the door there. So some final thoughts here. The work that we do is strategic. The work we complete is not just administrative in nature, it is strategic. If you are looking for admin work, or if one of your clients is looking for admin work, honestly, we might be an okay option, but we also might not be the most cost-effective option. But if someone is looking to figure out where to go, what to do, and they're looking for hands-on work, they're looking for the tactical, they're looking for help with Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator and Adobe Premiere, and they're looking for editable PDFs, and they're looking for these types of things, we can be the doers. Also, if you notice, when I went over the services, almost every one of them talked about analysis in some way. Analysis, recaps, ROIs. We want to be able to judge our work. These are things that we will always do. I think that in some cases, when you're selling a product, a physical product, you say like, okay, well, you're buying this saw. Give me $300 and I'll give you this saw. It's very clear what you bought. And sometimes selling consultation services, especially like if it's like an IMC plan, what are we doing? To make that work, what we do is we will provide analysis. Here's what you bought. This is what you did. So we provide that really with every type of service we provide. Next up is DIY, do it yourself. Many clients prefer that DIY approach. For a not-for-profit, this might be 3 team members shipping in to write a newsletter, or saying like, oh, this month you're going to do it, next month I'll do it. And those things are great. And oftentimes there are a lot of budget constraints with not-for-profit organizations or small businesses. We get it. We can help those processes too. We don't always have to come over and take over everything else. Sometimes we can just be a sounding board. We can provide some ongoing support for people. We can review things for them. We can provide them with a roadmap. We can do these things and still allow them to have that DIY culture. And that kind of goes into the next part, supporting at any level. We can take over the entire function or we can provide guidance. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. We have built our department from the ground up with the understanding that everything's going to look different. We're not just trying to make a one system and say, hey, everyone fits into this exact same thing. We can provide packages to people and say, hey, here are the things that we can provide. Here are the outcomes that we're going to give you. We can give you a flat rate. We can do hourly rate. We're very accommodating and flexible in that regard. And then the last bit of the last thought that I have for you here today is that most people on this call today are on the front lines. You're the ones meeting with your clients on a regular basis. You go to this client every Tuesday and they know you. They don't know me. They don't know Anna. They know you. And it's you having that conversation, that first conversation, that kickoff, any way to push people back to me, give people my business card, give people my email address, send them an email and say, hey, we talked about it the other day, but I wanted to introduce you to Matt, or I want to introduce you to Matt and Anna. That's totally fine. We can take it from there, but getting that warm handoff is incredibly important. And I think that sometimes people have this idea that it's supposed to be stressful and I don't really know enough about communication services. You don't have to know everything. Learning from today's little session, a couple of the different services we provide, some of the buzzwords, and all we need you to do is say, hey, talk to our experts, talk to our team, and we can go from there. And honestly, I think that by doing something like that, we can convert some business and we can have our clients have a better relationship with our organization. And I think that by doing that, by expanding our suite of services, and okay, first we did accounting and now we do accounting and HR. Now we do accounting, HR, and tax work. And now we do accounting, HR, tax work, and communications. We're creating that full back office service of suites for our clients and making our relationship tighter and tighter. And just peace of mind for all of you, understand that I work very hard to make sure that all of the work that I do is of good quality, and I will always treat your clients the same way. So as we get more and more work, understand that a tremendous amount of time and effort is going to go in on our part to make sure that we do right by the client. So that is the seminar today. That's what I had for you. If anyone has additional questions, we got another one. Does CAD ever go external to work at clients' offices, or is this remote services? Right now, it's really not off the table. We've had to go to a couple clients for meetings or to take pictures. Anna's actually going out to one of the clients pretty soon to take headshots of people. So we can go there. As far as being on site all the time, I don't know. I think it would really just depend on the particular situation. So the question was about us going to other offices. It's definitely a possibility, and depending on the client and making that work, I think, probably the answer is yes. If no one has any other questions, you're all good to go. But if people do have questions, both Anna and I are here to answer them. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate the time and attention.